Hi there, my name's Julian. I'm one of the directors of SCOTL. I recently interviewed Roger Hunter. Roger is the manager of people and culture at Adelaide Hills Council. Adelaide Hills Council was recently inspected by SafeWork regarding their psychosocial risk management processes. Roger's been involved in this process, and I asked Roger a series of questions around this. Here is one of the questions I asked Roger and his response. I hope you find this insightful.
I think for me, I'm always fascinated by the the idea that like as a species, we've been around for it's estimated about 10,000 generations, okay, which is a long time. And most of those generations have been all about physical safety. So we survive from being physically safe and creating physically safe environments. If you look at evolution, we adapted for that. It's only in the last, out of those uh, 10,000 generations, the pyramids were built 1,000 generations ago. Within that time frame, it's not very long. We've only had hot showers for what, 4 generations? So for like 10,000 generations of human history, it's only in the last four that we've had hot showers. We've got this huge evolutionary aspect around safety, which now is not dependent upon the physical safety. So most of us, and not all of us, but most of us live in a relatively physically safe world. We still have the exact same reactions to a snarky email as we would have from being faced with a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, that's part of our evolution. And so I think there's a fascinating aspect around how do we create those safe environments for individuals while we're also working with our evolution, which has done us so well for the entirety of our history. And not being able to manage that and then not being defensive about it. So you would see this almost within every conversation. Am I going to go towards that verbal violence or silence? Am I going to, arc up, or I'm going to shut down? That's our evolution coming into play here. And this, I think, is why it's so important for us to create safe environments from a psychosocial perspective, because whenever we do either one of those two responses, then we're not getting the information. And I think it's a fascinating challenge that to be able to do that, we are having to work with 10,000 generations of evolution, which right up until relatively recently have worked really, really well for us. But the technological advances we've got within society have now put us in this fascinatingly new space that our evolution hasn't actually kept up with. Like I read recently, there was apparently the reason why we're so distractible is from an evolutionary perspective, because it's a really good thing to be distracted by new things. Because if you imagine if you're walking along in the savannah and there's a rustling, you want to have your immediate attention on that to then work out whether it's danger or not. We've now moved to the point where that doesn't happen, but now I'm distracted by my inbox from the same thing, but it doesn't help us, because now we're trying to find, I want to do deep work and need to find 2 or 3 hours to focus. So I think there's a fascinating aspect of managing that safety for people. And it's like you mentioned before, what's the question that I should ask? And some people might not want to ask the questions. Am I better to just leave it and not ask the question and find out in case I unearth something? That would be a protective mechanism that we've got. So I think it's on us as individuals and within our leadership to then go, I'm comfortable enough to be able to ask these questions, find out what the real issues are, and then be confident enough to be able to start to put stuff in place to be able to resolve it. And I think that's where, things like the psychosocial surveys are going to be able to come in. Things like the one that you've got, which covers off on different areas, allows individuals to then be able to go, well, here's the area that I need to focus on next. Yeah, and thank you. And looking forward to finding opportunities for us to work together on this, because I've been following a lot of your stuff on that you post about. And I think it's really important that we find people that have a genuine knowledge and understanding of what's happening in this area, as opposed to it's just another thing that we need to tick off on.